This guy is completely wrong. I'm going to tell you why. So I thought I'd react today. There's this article here. North Carolina Chick-fil-A owner fined for violating child labor laws, paying workers in food. Now, according to the story, they had some minors. They were operating some heavy equipment, with motorized equipment. I guess that's against the law, so they were fined for that. And then they had some kids, I guess, working in the parking lot directing traffic. And instead of paying them cash, they paid them in food coupons. And that was deemed illegal. So I think overall this is probably more of a political hit piece, but what was interesting to me, and this is why I'm bringing this up, is throughout this article, it's talking about all these different things. And this is where it got interesting to me. Before I owned my own business, I worked for a small family business. I learned a lot from them. They were honest, ethical people. They took out cash advances on their personal credit cards to pay their people. As a business owner, the first thing I pay is my staff. The rest of it, including all my own bills, comes second. You just figure out how to make it work. If you have to stiff your workers to run your business, you aren't qualified to own a business, and you shouldn't sell it to someone who is. This is where I have a big disagreement. This guy is completely wrong. I'm going to tell you why. I ran a business, and I did this is exactly the problem, is that people who are in this, I'm a small business owner, they fail to understand that their fundamental job as a business owner is to collect dividends. That's it. That's their job. They wear a separate hat. It's called a CEO, Chief Executive Officer. They're supposed to run a business to deliver on shareholder value. So what this guy is saying is completely antithetical to the whole point of being a CEO, which is to derive value. If you haven't driven value, you've robbed the shareholders. They're a stakeholder. They're important. That's your job, is to deliver value to the shareholders. That's it. It's not on customers, not customer satisfaction. As a CEO, your job is to deliver on the promise of value to shareholders. This goes completely against that, because value to the shareholders means profit, which means dividends. If you fail to do those two things, you have a problem. It means you didn't do your job. I actually made this comment here myself. I said, as a business owner, I learned to pay myself first. It helped me not to run my business as a charity, for one, but it's also critically important to maintain your credit as the owner. And this is where I'm coming from. Let's say it all works out great. Okay, you saved the day, you paid everyone's good, they didn't get harmed. But the reality is, your business, if you don't have the current funds to pay your current debts and obligations, you're insolvent. That's what that means. That means your business is on the teetering on bankruptcy. That's when you need to stop and think, I'm doing something wrong. I'm not generating profit to the shareholders. I'm not providing a value to the mandate that I have, which is to provide value, to develop equity for my shareholders. And I haven't done that. So here's the problem, is if you stop paying yourself, that means you're not going to be paying your bills on a regular basis. That harms your credit personally as an owner. Okay. And that's going to also generate an inconsistent cash flow on your bank statements. So that, guess what? When opportunity knocks and they say, oh, hey, we got this big opportunity we could do, we need to just fund it. We need to borrow some money. Oh, sure, I'm the owner. I'll put up my personal information and try and get some credit. Oh, but your credit history is not so good. You've missed a few payments here and there. And, oh, let's look at your bank records. Oh, you didn't pay yourself on a regular basis. Now, where are you? So you robbed your own self of the opportunity to fund your future. And that's completely stupid. I'm telling you, I've been there. I did exactly what this guy was thinking. Pay your staff first. I borrowed a lot of money to do that. And here's what happened. It didn't go well for me. I couldn't get through it because the recession I hit was much worse. I lost 90% of my clients in a very short period of time. I could not recover that business. I held on to it for far too long. I should have laid everybody off immediately, and I didn't. Instead, I did what this guy says, go borrowed a bunch of money. Here I am 9 years later, still paying for it. Thank you. That's not the right way to do it. Sorry. If you're not delivering shareholder value, you failed as a CEO. Period. You should not be running a business. That's a lesson to myself. I've learned from that mistake. Pay myself first. If I have to look at my P&L statement, I look at what my takings and my expenditures are, and I cut my costs fast. And if it's a staffing issue, I'm going to cut them fast. I'll lay them off because I know I can bring them back. And if I'm going through that painful cycle of laying people off and bringing them back, that means I have a fundamental problem with my business. I'm not making enough consistent revenue. I don't have a good accounts receivable management. I don't have a good expense management. Something else is wrong. You need to solve that problem. That's the problem you got to fix, not shortchanging yourself. Because here's the problem. Let's say it doesn't go well, like it didn't go well for me. Now all of a sudden, 4 or 5 years later, you got a dodgy credit history. Your banking isn't so clear. It doesn't have a good track record. And guess what? Now you're trying to do your next new gig, your next new adventure, and you're behind the eight ball. You're not able to put your best foot forward. You know you have the right idea. You have the best thing. You have all this experience, but guess what? You ruined yourself. You have to protect the owner. You have to provide that value. If you're not providing that value, you got to just stop the business. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think?